Daniel, hold on for me. Let me speak with Owusu Free. He's a labor consultant. Mr. Free, thank you for joining us on the program. You've been following the development and you've seen and heard reactions from what happened yesterday. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised per se, because to be honest, the increment is on the low side, and left to labor, I think it would have gone up by, say, 30% or thereabouts. But at the same time, we should be cautious, because the economy it hasn't grown to the extent that we can give labor 30% or more than that. But it's all about your negotiation skills. Nobody can force you to accept 10% or 5%, or it depends on your negotiation skills. So this all that I can see for now.
From the perspective of labor, you agree that they feel hard done by?
They feel
this is not fair for them?
Come again.
So what I'm asking is, if you're talking from the perspective of labor, would you agree that they would feel that this is not fair to them?
Oh, sure. Because when you look at the economic indices, the cost of living, inflation, rent, transportation, fuel, and the rest, then it is to a large extent peanut. It cannot address the day-to-day cost of living. The increment cannot meet the day-to-day cost of living. When you take into consideration food, health, rent, and other social activities. Yes, it is far
inadequate.
Inadequate. Yes. I understand labor. If they are a bit peeved, I understand them. But they must strengthen their negotiation skills also. Because if you sit down and then you agree on this, who are you to blame?
For labor.
Though I don't want any protracted negotiations or a deadlock or whatever. But they should have stood on their grounds and maybe added more, because normally it is negotiation is just a give and take. The employer will just as for the employer, the employer may not necessarily give you what you want, but unless you push and push and push, you get it.
Right.
So before you come to you arrive at
a favorable
figure,
compromise.
Yes, a figure that will be acceptable to both parties. And it's all negotiations.
Right.
Yes. So if you allow yourself to be bullied, then you don't have anybody to blame.
Okay.
If you allow yourself to be bullied, yes. So they should sharpen their negotiation skills. Labor should sharpen their negotiation skills, and then demand what is right, what is fair.
Okay.
Yes, but at the same time, maybe they took cognizance of the fact of the economic situation and then agreed on that figure. But to me, it is woefully inadequate. But at the same time, labor shouldn't have allow themselves to be cajoled into
right.
that.
Mr. Free, was the presence of the president yesterday necessary?
Yeah, not really. But the normal convention is this: the president or the employer, the Ghana government will select his team, and then union labor will also select their team, and then they negotiate. To a large extent, the president's presence was maybe to bully them or to cajole them, or on one hand, but at the same time, to give the impression or to show them that he has he is interested he has personal interest in the discussions. So, and whatever he says may carry more weight, a lot of weight,
right,
than maybe the team. Yes, but normally the convention is labor and then the employer, their representatives.
Okay.
And then they meet. When they meet, then after arriving on, then it is formally conveyed to the employer. And another issue is this: it settles once and for all that once the president is in, the finance minister is in, whatever figures they agree on, it will be implemented without delay.
Okay.
Sometimes, yes, sometimes after negotiating on a figure, arriving on a figure, when the employer's representatives inform the employer that this is what we agreed, and if it is over and above what the employer mandated them to do, then it becomes a tug of war.
Okay.
It takes time. It takes time for the negotiated to be implemented.
Okay.
So maybe yes, maybe with the president himself being there, the finance minister there, and that its implementation will not delay.
Okay.
That's the way I see it.
Bearing in mind how unhappy Labour is at the moment, because 10% is not what they anticipated, if you like, what should be their reaction now?
Whose reaction?
I'm talking about Labour.
You know, I find it very difficult for them to react now because they were not forced. They were not forced to accept the figure. So it is up to Labour to find ways and means to convince the entire workforce that this is what we were able to agree upon. Then maybe Labour, the team representing Labour, will now tell the workers that in view of this, that, because of these reasons, that's why we are able to agree on this 10%. Then, other than that, the ordinary worker will look at their leaders with disdain, yes, but they should be able to convince the workforce. We should be able to convince the workforce the reasons why they accepted the 10%.
Right. Mr. Free, in the long term as well, bearing in mind, again, the levels of discontent within Labour due to the low percentage increase, in the long term, what effect is it likely to have on future negotiations with previous governments?
Well, Labour, in the long term,
future governments.
Future negotiations, Labour will have to strengthen their negotiation skills. That's all. And then we don't want an impasse. We don't want a deadlock. But because we all know what deadlocks and strikes bring to the nation. But maybe labor should. I don't know the figures labor presented. I don't know the figures labor presented for them to just get 10% in this dire economic conditions that we face. I don't know the figures, but next time labor should increase their. If labor wants 25%, then it should start somewhere from 75 or 80% and negotiate. Yes, that's all. Normally, both labor and both employees and union and management, they know where they know what they want, and we call this bargaining. You back channel that please. As for this negotiation, we don't want anything less than 20%. So you negotiate behind the scenes. Before, yes, that's a normal thing. You negotiate behind the scenes.
Right.
Before you come to the table. So when you come to the table, it is just a matter of crossing the T's and dotting the I's. The I's. Yes, you negotiate behind the scenes. Before the negotiation, that is what is done.
Right.
And that was what, as a HR manager, personnel manager in various companies, that's what we did. We met the union prior to negotiation. But if you say you are going to negotiate on all the issues on that negotiate, then it will be protected. It will take about 3-4 months before even you come to it. So you negotiate behind the scenes before you come to the table. So when you come to the table, it is already cooked. So you just cross the T's and dot the I's because you know where the percentages. Yes, that is a consensus negotiation, consensus building. That's all.
Mr. Free, thank you.
Hello.
Mr. Free, thank you. Thank you so much for your time with us on the program.
So they must negotiate before they go to the table.
Okay.
To know actually beyond what the employer cannot give. And then employer will also get to know at this figure the union or labor will not go below this figure. If it is 15%, the union will tell them you won't receive anything less than 15%.
Okay.
So you don't go to negotiations just like that.
Right.
No. You should do your background check and then you build your consensus and then we move on.
Right.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Free. I'll be speaking with Mr. Uswe Free. He's a labor consultant speaking with us.